Ooh, look at that.
Dude, that's a ripper.
Play.
What tune's that?
That sounds familiar.
Donald McLeod, the hornpipe.
Is that part of your band set?
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tolerant podcast. My name is Josh. With me, as always, is my bearded co-host, Mr. Andy Fuco.
Is that me? I think
Does anything matter anymore?
Nothing matters. Everything's going to shit.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. And if you didn't know, I'd like to inform you cordially right now that this is an explicit show. So if you're sensitive in the ears, go listen to something else. You have 5 seconds to do so. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck. Listeners can review the show on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, I don't know, everywhere, I guess. You can send us emails and voicemails to be played on air. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or if you're Australian, Snapchat. Check out the Chanarant store at chanarant.com. And this episode of the Chanarant podcast, as usual, is brought to you by our patrons, those lovely people who send us a $5.01 a month to
thanks to sales tax.
Yeah, thanks to sales tax to make dick jokes on the radio. Many of whom are on this stream right now. Fuco.
Yes, sir. Oh, please don't tell me it's my.
It's not. It's me.
Hey, go ahead.
You know what? You know what really coughs in my face mid quarantine?
What's that, Josh?
We're still in this, and not only are we still in this, but it's going back up. It's insane. The United States sucks dicks at this whole quarantine and pandemic thing. We're good at. I tell you what, man.
Just close the borders, man.
Yeah,
Trump was right 4 years ago.
If only we did. Fuck you. If only we did. Here's what we need. We need to convince people that somehow there's oil involved in eliminating a pandemic.
that will get them on board, right?
And then everyone will be on board. They'll be like, masks? Fuck yeah, dude. But no, that's not what we're talking about today, because we just barely squeezed in at the tail end, the last little...
It's the last weekend.
Crooked,
our last chance.
The last crooked inch of Pride Month, and we've got our good friend, Mr. Trevor Takahashi from the Pasadena Scots band.
Yeah, brought to you by Pasadena Scots.
Brought to you by Pasadena Scots. Trevor, how are you doing, man?
What's up? I'm good. Happy Pride Month, guys.
I miss your face. I would have seen it at several contests by now.
Yes.
Same.
Yes.
I know. It's so weird. It's so weird for it to be June. Like, I think we're supposed to be I think we saw each other at the San Diego games.
I think
year.
that was probably the last time. It was a little over a year ago. And Trevor, for anybody who knows him personally, has a very similar effect on people. Kind of, Joe Brady has kind of like an inspiring,
yes,
I don't want to kill everyone anymore effect.
Yeah.
And Trevor just kind of has like a nice, everyone's happy.
He's very calming. He's got a calming presence. His aura.
He's just a bright, happy individual.
I'm glad that I fooled you guys.
Yeah.
I'm glad that every time I've seen you, I'm glad I fooled you.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to find out the dark side of Trevor next week, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's good to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's fun. I've listened to your show, and I'm a huge fan, so...
Well, somebody's got to be.
Somebody's got to listen.
Exactly. One of the 6 people, right, that's listening.
Okay, so if you had to write a 140 character review of the Chanarant podcast, go.
Wow. All right. 140. This is like, I'm going to pretend I'm like Donald Trump on Twitter trying to write a
So for this exercise, if you're going to pretend like you're Donald Trump, you need to get on the toilet.
A drunken rant about pipe band world, usually involving the beer tent and a little bit of shade and a little bit of shout out for some bands, and just chatting about kind of like this is way more than 140 characters, but you know what?
That's right.
We're live.
Just tweet another tweet.
You're good. You just keep
exactly.
You can just add to the thread now. So how are things going for you in SoCal, man?
Good. I mean, we thought we were doing good. Everything's opening back up, but it's a little confusing because our numbers are continuing to rise. So I don't know. It's on the surface, it seems like things are good, and then the numbers keep going up. So I don't know. But in terms of me and the immediate band, we're all good and healthy. So I really can't ask for anything more. Obviously, it sucks to be able to not be able to play and not be able to rehearse and go to games and go to the pub and have a beer with people. But I guess we'll maybe see that day sometime in the future.
The sun will shine on us again.
Exactly.
Someday. Are you guys practicing in any way, shape, or form?
No, it's, we've done a few. Zoom is just very challenging, as we all know. And I think a lot of people for work have to be on Zoom all day. And it's just, I think we were talking about this a little bit before, but it's a technical nightmare. And by the time you actually get anywhere, you're like an hour in and you're like, all right, we played through a couple measures. We have a grade 5 band as well, and they've been doing a lot of learning of new tunes on Zoom, which has been great. The grade 3, we've kind of paused a little bit. We're just looking at some new material and figuring out kind of planning for next season, hopefully. So, with, the roster, all that kind of stuff, like money, all the boring stuff that no one wants to do during the year because we're too busy playing. So now is the perfect time because we can't play.
Right.
Yeah, we've had a similar tack. So we took basically most of June off.
Almost the entire June off, yeah, and some of May. That was on Cobra's recommendation. Well, not really. I just took the idea from him because they took it off.
So wait, we can
great.
say,
Let's
so
take time
if we
off.
steal someone else's idea, we can say it was on their recommendation.
Correct.
Right? Okay,
Yes, yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Lovely.
But it sounds like you guys are doing something similar, at least grade 3. Like, just fucking, it's a pain in the ass. So
It's a good time to go through administrative crap,
just
though.
do all
I
the,
mean,
get all the shit you gotta
we're
get
like
done.
doing the boring shit nobody wants to do, like upgrading the roster, like updating the roster, and like going over the financials, like he said. Like it's all the crap that it's the less sexy part of pipe band leadership.
Is there?
I don't know that there is.
Terribly less sexy.
I don't know if there is a sexy part. I'm sorry.
I mean, seasoning your bagpipe bag is definitely
that's-
sexier
there you
that's-
go.
that's-
than coming up with the roster.
Man, you know what? Tell you what, that bagpipe seasoning stuff, that is amazing masturbatory.
Is that what you use?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Oh, you use bagpipe seasoning?
Put it in the
as
microwave,
lube?
heat it up, and then.
Oh yeah, you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to go in cold.
Trevor, have you ever masturbated with your seasoning?
No, unfortunately not.
I'm telling you, brother, try it.
Is this like are you guys like sponsored by the seasoning
Here's
company? I
my-
love it. Like this
Here's
is like
my
a
question: isn't that
product
just
placement
more
moment.
expensive than lube? Like,
It's got to be that shit. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
there's no way that seasoning is cheaper than lube.
That's a good point. I have no idea.
Personally, I just drag mine across the carpet for a bit until I get there, if you know what I mean. So we gotta address the elephant in the room here, which is my boy.
What's that?
My sweet bearded boy is fucking hanging like a bat. So Sko, do you want to tell us and our wonderful guest who was on time and was prepared and waiting to do this show with us, do you want to tell him why you have showed up like a sack full of hammers?
Yeah, I apologize, Trevor, for being late. I'm so hungover, dude. It's probably the worst since 2017. Probably the world's or something. It was. Oh my god. So we do this dojo happy hour thing on Friday nights.
Yeah, we on their recommendation we did it for Channeret. You see what I did there?
Exactly.
Yeah, we definitely didn't just pirate the idea.
Which is sort of after my last class, because I'm the latest class on Friday, we get whoever wants to comes in, and we have drinks and talk and whatever. So this is 6:00 in the evening my time. This is when it starts, and come 12:30 a.m. it's me and Aussie Broad, the last one standing, and I'm just like literally half. This is the giant bottle of Bushmills. I went through half of this myself.
He bought this. Show the camera. Like
bought this yesterday.
He bought that yesterday and then brought this for us.
I brought this today.
So you drank basically a bottle of whiskey.
Correct. Which is
with
insane.
Ozzy on Zoom.
On Zoom, essentially, yeah. I mean, there was a bunch of other people, but she was the last one there.
That's impressive.
Holy shit, dude.
So you're hanging today.
Big time.
Bro, you're like 50 years old. You can't keep doing this shit. You're going to die.
You're telling me. Well, you're telling my liver.
Your beard's getting grayer every time.
So, Trevor, I apologize. I was so slow moving today. I was like, oh, God, it was the worst.
See, he texted me like I think he only texted me like 10 minutes after sound check had started.
No, it was like 20. It was like 1:20 or something.
Because you're like I'm so hungover. I'm sorry. I'm on my way, and I'm like, okay, like just get over. Like everything's set up. We're gonna go.
Yeah, so that sucked. But join the dojo for 5. I don't know what you do the read. I don't know.
if you want to watch Andrew punish himself with alcohol at the Dojo Happy Hour, you can do so. You can get your $1 test drive, I believe, is our current promotion at Generate.com/.
No, it's the tuning one.
Well, they're both
okay.
active. So you can also do the tuning, but the tuning video is free. It doesn't get you the Dojo Happy Hour, but you can if you want to watch Andrew Douglas fillet himself about tuning over several videos. It's actually really good information. You should go watch it. I just like giving him shit. That's Generate.com/tuning, I believe. We didn't get
anything creative.
We didn't make it a savage link. We wanted to give him a break. Doogie's had a hard time past couple episodes.
He definitely has.
All right, so we're going to get through some news, updates, etc. We don't have a lot to go through. And then we're getting to our topic, which our topic of this week, since we're at the tail end of Pride Month, we're very happy to have Trevor here. And we're going to talk about pipe band inclusiveness.
Are we going to talk about gay stuff?
Probably some, yeah.
Okay.
Some
Cool.
LGBTQA plus stuff.
You guys are you don't even need me here. Like, look at you guys. Spouting out all the letters.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
We
Love it.
We
I need to
know
know what
our
this
shit.
A+ thing is, because that's new to me. Or LGBT.
A is A asexual, I think.
I don't know. Trevor, what
Yes.
is the A?
A is asexual, and then plus is anything
Every
that's not in the
other
first.
letter of the
Yeah,
alphabet.
it's anything that's not in those
everything
letters.
else? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
we'll get into that. We'll get into
Yeah,
it.
precisely. So that's when you get like your pansexual.
What does that
everything. You fuck cookware. I don't know. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay. We'll get to that.
Hey.
All right.
it has to do with the bagpipe seasoning again.
We're back to the bagpipe seasoning.
Exactly.
But before we get to that, real quick, I want to give a shout out. We have we have 3 new patrons. I only had one in the notes, but Troy, welcome, and we had 2 that came in just to see Trevor. So Michael and Amy, cheers! Thank you all for supporting the show.
I assume they're going to cancel as soon as this is over.
Yeah, but hey, they got charged up front.
So you
So.
got to try $5 either way.
And then we have a message from Heather, who is a patron. I think we shouted out last week. She says, "Hey guys, love the show. Keep up the good work. Sorry I couldn't make happy hour, but I'm hoping you'll do another soon. Wash your hands and hail Satan." Heather from Canada.
Yes. Hail Satan.
So as we all know here at Channery Podcast, during the time of COVID-19, wash your hands, hail Satan. Sco, you want to get the next message?
Yeah, we got something from Fiona says, just got out of bed in Aussie. I assume she means Australia. Would have loved to have joined you all and had a yarn and a laugh, but 7 a.m. is way out of my dedication range. Hope you had fun. Well, we did have fun, and guess what? The next one is going to be scheduled so the Australian people can attend.
Yes. So thank you to everyone who attended last Saturday, a week from today, actually. We had our Patreon happy hour.
Yep.
An idea that was recommended from the dojo. Definitely not just lifted.
Not at all.
And that was a really good time. Thanks to everyone who showed up. We enjoyed it, just kind of having a beer and chatting and whatever.
Yep.
And so the way that we're going to do these going forward is we'll probably do one a month.
Who was your favorite person that showed up?
My favorite
who had the best
guest?
Story? Yeah.
Oh, Cameron, of course.
Oh, it had to be John Van Dickface.
John Van Dickface
Just because his name is great.
John Van Dickface was pretty funny.
Yeah, John Van Dickface was great.
But yeah, no. Cammy Poo stopped by. He's too cheap. He's too cheap to be a patron, but we let him come in so he could tell some stories.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like the format. So we're gonna have a hangout, bevs. We'll bring in some kind of a guest to tell some stories, so you can get a little one-on-one time with people who are like
Who are
piping
important
legends or some
cool
shit,
or something.
Like, yeah.
Or somebody that played Neglect Video. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
piping legends, or as we call them in the non-piping world, postmen, or grocery baggers, or you know. But yeah, so we do have our July happy hour coming up. Information on that will come out soon, and that is going to be basically we're going to do like a more U.S.-based timeline, a more UK-based timeline, a more Australia.
We try to catch.
So I think we're doing like a late Friday, early Saturday.
Late Friday, so we can catch the Australians. at a
Yeah,
decent
so it'll be
time.
like Saturday Arvo for you Australians, and like Friday night for us.
Yeah. So come on in and join us. It's a good.
Yeah,
time.
come on, it's good crack. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Maybe we'll have Trevor come on one of these and be our celebrity guest.
Is he?
Sure.
Trevor, are you technically a celebrity? Do you think?
No.
I mean, he's more of a celebrity than we are. He
definitely is.
actually wins shit.
I was gonna say you're the last pipe major to win something. The last American pipe major to win something. We'll get into that next week.
Yeah, we'll get to that next week. Other than that, we have some upcoming guests. Valerie from the Lady Pipers podcast. I don't know if the other host is going to come on as well, but I know Valerie confirmed she's going to come on this month.
Excellent.
And Stephen McWhorter's coming on this month. I
haven't
haven't
gotten-
gotten confirmation.
Let's just say it because it will make it happen.
But if you...
Cameron's working on that.
Let's just say this. If you would like to have your playing critiqued during quarantine, you can send a recording to playforsheets.com. And for £7 or $8 or $8.50 maybe American, you can get reviews from world-class judges. And Cameron, this is one of 3 ad reads you get until you get me Stephen McWhirter.
I will read... Every other sentence will be an ad read if you get me Stephen McWhirter.
And then the only other news and update I had was Rabbi's on Pipes. He sent us a little clip. Yes. And we're not going to play it because he asked us not to. He said he'll send us a clip that we can play
next week? Soon.
Yeah. He's like, once I have
think
more...
we should play it,
I think he wants
funny.
more drones. I think he wants more drones open.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
But yeah, Rabbi's on Pipes, which is fantastic. Welcome to the good side of pipe band.
Yeah.
And now you no longer have to worry about banging the 3rd hottest girls at every gig. You can now bang the hottest girls at the gig.
Who do you think? Okay, so you got pipes, snare, tenor, and bass.
Who,
you know how like
who crushes?
Which of those instruments is the sexiest that gets the hottest chicks? Do you think?
Okay, gets the hottest chicks.
Pipe band related.
Gets the hottest chicks or
Crushes the most
just crushes the most.
Either
because I would say tenor drummers probably crush the most when you think about it.
Females and they have
they're
the
usually
choice.
They're usually pretty girls and they can bang whoever they want.
Yeah, they get the choice. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and then I'd say probably pipers after that, and then bass drummer and then snare.
Yeah, I was gonna say snare's the least.
Snare's definitely last. What do you think, Trevor? Rank it. Who gets laid the most in the pipe band?
I agree with your lineup.
So where does a drum major?
I might switch the bass and the snare though.
You think
Really?
so? You think the snare pulls more than a bass player?
Yeah, I mean we have some sexy snare players in our band, so.
I just like the bass player is usually just like a kind of more robust human. Okay, so wait a minute.
I guess it depends on the level.
It comes to my attention now that in this system that we have all kind of agreed that we're pretty close to a consensus on, nobody said anything about drum majors. So do they just get nothing?
They get absolutely nothing.
They just drive the gear home.
They definitely do. They wear the most shit and they get the less.
Does a drum major like the keyboardist of
they're the keyboard
pipe band?
Yeah, they're the keyboard player that's like hidden in the back. You don't actually see him.
Like I don't know if you ever read the Rock Bible.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, one of my favorite idioms from the Rock Bible is like the keyboardist doesn't get to be on the album cover.
Never. Oh, that's true. So true. So like think about it though. Grade 1, like a lot of the grade 1 bass players are pretty sexy, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Trevor, what do you think? Like SFU's bass drummer is pretty hot. Inveries used to be. I don't know who their new one is, but what's his name was pretty goddamn sexy. Fuck's like his name? I can't think of his name.
I got nothing.
But anyway.
Yeah, if we're narrowing it to grade 1, I mean, I think that's different.
That
but...
level, yeah. You
Dude,
go to grade 4, and it's
you got to keep in mind, man.
It's a bunch of people look like me.
All 5 foot tall Scottish people look the fucking same to me. Like,
oh God, why can't I think of that kid's name? He was a good looking kid.
It's just like copy paste. Like literally, I'm assuming all of you are related somewhat. Like, they all fucking look the same. It's like so you get an army of like 14 5'1" white Scottish dudes. How the fuck am I supposed to tell the difference? Who's who? The only reason I can tell Stuart apart is because of his tramp stamp. That he got while he was out drinking with Kelly Sheehan. That's how they ended that night. I'm putting it out there.
Kelly and Stuart Little got matching
They
tattoos.
got matching butterfly tramp stamps.
Trevor, have you ever met Stuart Little?
Yes.
Have you had him out to California for anything, for something you guys do or anything?
Yeah, we actually had him out for a workshop a while back. It was when John McDonald, actually in the band, was doing a Pipes and Sticks on Route 66.
Oh, that's
that
right.
documentary. So we actually had the honor of having like Angus there as well, and it was great. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Stuart remembers me, but I definitely have say hi to him anytime I'm around. Like at the Worlds last year. I'm like, you don't know who the hell I am, but it's okay. Hi.
Can you tell by the look in his eyes, like he's like trying real hard to like. he was probably drunk when he met you or whatever. I don't know. God knows.
Right.
But
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I remember, and we've told this story before on the show. Like when we were. Was it at the? No, it wasn't even at the World. I feel like it was at the Scottish Championships
it was at
or
the
something.
Scottish Champion, the beer
In
tent,
Dumbarton.
Dumbarton.
Yeah. And like we're sitting there drinking and like hanging out with the Valley Breast folks. # Team Breast. And like Stuart like walks in after they just won. Like they didn't.
They hadn't
announced it yet, but they had, and like Stuart comes in, he's like, guys.
No, he was. I remember this because your back was to him, and I saw him across the way. He was like 10 feet away, and I think we were talking to Elliot Henderson, maybe I forget who we were talking to, and he saw me, and he's like, I saw his head like a dog, you know, when their head turns.
He's like motherfucker. He's like, what are you guys doing?
What are you guys doing here? Like, what the fuck? It was so funny. He came running over.
Yeah, came over like we were like having beers and having hugs because we hadn't seen him since the concert.
Yeah,
I think was it the year prior?
The year prior.
Yeah. And everyone in the Valley Breast band's like, how the fuck do you guys know Stuart Little?
Yeah, it was so funny.
And it's like we had him out to Vegas and got him drunk, and
it's the best thing you can do for a high level player is just bring them out to your town and get them drunk, and they will love you forever.
and then you put them in the boot of a bus.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, where were we?
Oh, we were talking about who's sexiest in pipe bands. See,
Who do you think the hottest? Let's go with male.
I also want to
with
bring
my
up a
maleness.
counter argument after this because I want to bring up a debate of who's sexier overall in pipe band, American pipe bands versus Irish, UK, and Scottish bands.
Sexiest
and Australian bands
as a country.
Yeah, just like when you see a band, you're like, damn, I would fuck every person in that band.
It's got a field marshal. Got to be.
You would fuck all those dudes?
They're all very handsome dudes. Like, and they're so sharp. Canada, a lot of the Canadian bands are.
I'll tell you, Canadian
sharp.
bands got some
Americans
pretty people.
look like a bunch of fucking dopes for the most part.
That's
but
right.
Unless you're Pasadena or Waken District.
Yeah, let's say if you're Pasadena or Wake,
you're probably pretty sharp.
It's a pretty band. The rest of us look like the fucking island of misfit toys.
Oh my god! But Inverary, no, they're a bunch of ugly fucks. Field Marshal always looks. They have some of the best looking people in that band, man, for sure. Who else?
And that's hard to do in
Scottish Power is a bunch
It's hard to
of
do in
folks.
bumfuck Ireland, dude.
I know, but they get the best of the best all over the world, right? So, that's a good question. What do you think, Trevor? You have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I definitely think there's a look. Like, I think there's like there's a Canadian look.
Definitely.
There's like a UK overall like kind of look, and then America, I don't know, is kind of all over the place.
It's like yeah, they
no,
roll out of bed and put on a kilt.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, I can't pinpoint where you're from, but like I definitely, you know, when you're at, I think you're at a contest, you can always kind of guess like, is that a Canadian? You can tell, is that a Canadian band? Like, or is that a UK band? Like,
they all look like a
without
bunch of
even
fucking
talking to them.
clones, man. Like
The Canadians are very good dressers.
I
mean, at least
remember.
on a
I remember
kilt.
when like we would way back in the day. I think it was even when it was DSPD and not LVPB, and like we would go to Pleasanton, and like there'd be a year where a Canadian band would come
show
down,
up and they would look
it's
miles ahead of everybody else.
like,
Just in look.
everything like all their uniform was impeccable, and it was 22 16-year-old clones. Like they all looked like the exact same person.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it's like no, I'm not Phil, I'm Bob. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to? You all.
This is true.
I'm pretty sure you all came from one donor. Like, let's be honest here.
What about Australia though? Are they they usually look pretty good.
I
What
mean,
I remember.
Honey Boo Boo's
Australia
a big
and
old,
New Zealand.
Honey Boo Boo's a big old ginger god.
Yeah, I'm just thinking bands in general though. They always look pretty sharp. Most of the time, from what I remember. But and New Zealand always looks good too. So basically, America yet again is bringing up the rear in not only in COVID but also in sharpness when it comes to pipe band dress.
This is why I've been pushing a program where every time someone fucks up a cutoff, they just like rip out 15 push-ups or something.
You guys got to get in shape. You got to look good.
It's like, hey, I'll tell you what, man. If we're not the best sounding band, at least we'll be the most physically fit.
Anyway, so what were we talking about again? Why are we talking about?
We're talking about hot bands. So, but we're through all the bullshit. So we can get to the meat of the episode.
Finally.
Yes, because we're not going to do fail, try, win.
Nah, I don't have any of that.
That's all good.
I barely got here.
So
let's do the win of the week is Trevor's band, but we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, exactly. Win of the week is Pasadena. It's the win of the year because they're still technically reigning, right? I mean,
was it last year?
Yeah.
Was it last year you won?
No, 2018.
Yes.
But we'll still ride. We'll still ride that win. Well, I mean, we'll ride it.
Yeah.
You're still the most successful American band to date, reigning. Currently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
because everyone else just gave up and played in Scottish or Canadian bands.
So technically, Trevor's band is the premier
technically
pipe band in the United States.
That is technically accurate. That is.
We will take it.
He's the premier of all premier.
Unlike all these fuckers that like,
claim to be premier.
Yeah, everything's the premier or something, which drives me nuts.
Hey man, it's all it's advertising. Bro.
It's like when people are like, oh, like how'd you guys come up with the tagline for Channeran to be like the world's worst bagpipe podcast? Because I got tired of everyone saying they're the premier this, the premier that, the premier fucking.
Plus, Rab is so pissed when somebody else calls themselves the premier band. He gets so angry.
Yeah.
Or podcast. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, it's like fuck it. We're the worst.
Yeah, we're the worst.
Just with the most cash and the most followers, but we're the worst.
Wouldn't you agree, Trevor? We are absolutely the worst. So I have a question for Trevor. So to get you on the show, you had to go to your board to get approval to come on, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's remarkable to me. I understand it.
It's more remarkable to me that they gave it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, really, what harm could he do, right? We could do a lot of harm.
Oh, you'd be surprised. But yeah.
So I'm curious. Well, like, what is that process like? All right, we asked you to a couple weeks ago, like, hey, would you be on the show? And you're like, all right, let me get approval. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'll take some. What is that process like?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been having board meetings every 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know, for all the boring shit that we just talked about with pipe band life that needs to be done all the time. But now we just have oodles of time to do it. So it's a perfect opportunity to just catch up on all that stuff. So one of the agenda items that I added to the agenda that's very formal was, hey, I don't know who's familiar with Channeran. A lot of people were like, oh yeah, we love it.
You liar.
No, people do listen. So actually, our president is very fond. I turned her on to it I think after San Diego, because you guys did an episode at San Diego. So I said, you should listen to this. And she was like, it's super fun. So she's like, I'm adding it to my podcast queue. But yeah, I mean, we brought it up and I said, hey, just so you're aware, the nature of this podcast, it's very irreverent. It's very unfiltered. They're like, by irreverent and unfiltered, you mean? I'm like, I mean, it's kind of, it can be a shit show sometimes, and it's super fun. So I think we should do it. And basically they didn't say yes. They said, we trust that you will do the right thing. So it's all on me, you guys. It's all on me.
That's such like a parent thing to do. Like, all right,
Yeah.
Trevor, I know you're going to go out tonight.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to the lake with my friends. It's like, okay, well, we trust
we
you're going to
trust you to do the right thing. So we're going to see if we can fuck that up for you here.
See, that's interesting. Because I remember, back in the day, we had friction of like, okay, band leadership because the board at the time was like, yeah, I think we might need to tone this thing down, or you guys probably shouldn't do this anymore. And we were like, oh, okay. And so then we took over the board.
That's right. Then we became board
Yeah,
members.
then we became the board.
This is how we solved that problem.
You're like, approved.
It's the Donald Trump method. Just
guess what? We're in charge now. And
what do they call that? We're leading by executive decree.
Yeah.
we make decisions. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Who gives a shit?
But okay, cool. So now that we have you in our clutches,
yes.
I want to talk about today's topic. So we managed to get, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we managed to get an episode in at the very end of what is Pride Month here in the United States, which for anybody who's not from the U.S., well, I don't know, is June only the States Pride Month, or is it worldwide?
Fuck if I know.
It's pretty worldwide. I mean, there is a global Pride Day today going on, just in light of COVID-19. There's, kind of online festivities happening, but I think June is kind of recognized even outside of the U.S. as kind of like Pride Month.
Okay.
And so,
Which means what, Josh?
Well, it means that
for those rednecks that have no idea what Pride is.
It's a celebration of the rights and equality and culture of the LGBTQA plus community.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
Hey,
you gotta keep
I
in
just
mind.
want to say how I'm so impressed. I didn't even give you guys notes or any bullet points. Every
None.
time you say LGBTQIA plus, it needs to have
I
all
missed
those
I.
letters plus the plus.
Well, the I is those the I and the
Intersex.
plus
I
is-
missed intersex.
Is very new. I was just reading an article about that a couple days ago.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to keep up, but I'm try to stay apprised.
You're doing great.
But yeah, so we recently had a disclaimer at the beginning of one of our shows while there was rice and shit going on, and we're like, hey, this is a topic that there are topics that we would love to approach as a show, but we're not going to do it until we can have an opinion from someone who's actually a part of that
Experienced
community.
that life,
And
yeah.
I'd love to do a show all about pride, but we're two fucking straight white dudes in the middle of nowhere, Nevada.
I'm
Are you waffling?
I'm half straight.
Okay.
Straight.
Yeah, I mean,
I
sexuality.
mean, you give me enough to drink.
Sexuality is a spectrum. I mean,
You never know. You never know.
But it's nobody wants to listen to two fucking straight white dudes talk about pride.
I tell you what, I would Stuart Little's. I'm just coming out right now and saying that.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm just hoping he injects
So
me with greatness.
if we hit 100 patrons, we'll fly.
We'll fly Stuart.
We'll fly Stuart to Vegas for the most unenthusiastic
Hold on.
blowjob he's ever received.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It'll be like a kid. It'll be like a fucking kid eating cauliflower the first time.
So anyway,
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track by comparing Stuart's dick to cauliflower. I'm sure it's a perfectly normal dick.
sure, it's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're like, hey, our good friend Trevor, proud member of this community, and he can come talk to us because one of the things that we talk about on the show, a recurring theme that we've had when we're not bitching or calling people cunts, is the idea that the pipe band community is the shit. You travel somewhere, I'm in a pipe band, they're gonna put you up in their home, you're gonna hang out, you're gonna get beer, someone comes visit us. That's how it's so, despite being worldwide, fucking everybody knows everybody, right? Because it's such a kind
Small
of what I would like to consider to be very tolerant and inclusive community, but I wouldn't know if it wasn't because I'm a straight white dude.
Yeah, everybody accepts us generally, as far as I know.
So we brought in the opinion of Trevor because I want to know his experience in the pipe band community. Has it been shit? Has it been great? I haven't had the answer to this question yet. I'm going to hear it live on air with everyone else, and then I'm going to turn over the mic right now to Mr. Takahashi.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that you guys are, this sounds so NPR-ish, but are making the space for this kind of discussion right now on your podcast. But yeah, I mean, I think, look, the pipe band community is fantastic. There is something about it that is very community-based, and everyone kind of does the same weird hobby, and we all understand the same weird rules and know the same weird people, and I think that in itself kind of makes us our own little strange ragtag group of people that you can kind of go anywhere around the world and know, hey, I'm in a bagpipe band, you kind of have this shared understanding of what your art form is. And I think in any arts and music related hobby, there is more of an understanding or willingness to understand other people, which I think lends itself again to diversity and inclusion within the pipe band community, and allowing people to share in that, in the bagpipes and drums and Highland dancing and drum majoring, regardless of what you look like or who you're attracted to or what gender you identify with, if you identify with any gender at all. So I mean, I think baseline understanding of things, I think all in all, I think it's a fairly great place. It's always treated me pretty well. I kind of reluctantly joined the community as a high schooler in the San Fernando Valley at Granada Hills High School, and I was a band geek, and the only thing that got me to learn to play the bagpipes was my parents being late to pick me up every single Monday, and so if I weren't sitting there, I wouldn't have gone to learn to play the practice chanter and then go on to play the bagpipes. That I did say to the instructor, why the hell would I want to play this instrument? I'm not at that point, what was the media representation, fat bastard? That's not me. I don't look like that person. Why would I want to do that?
Right.
I think once you get into it, it's this is very hippy dippy, but it's like you have that like that moment where you play the pipes and you realize like this is a thing I want to do. It's like that feeling that you're like I gotta do that. I actually tried to stop playing like when I went off to college, and I couldn't let it go, so I had to come back, and that's actually when I found the Pasadena Scots. But to go back to the actual topic at hand, yeah, I mean, I think everyone I've kind of encountered has been very, kind of like open and respectful of me being a gay multi-ethnic guy in the pipe band world, who has piercings and colored hair and all sorts of other weird stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's always those experiences that you have that are a little off-putting. I'm not going to lie and say everything's like, sunshine and rainbows. There's times where it's like, so what, and I don't think this is people in the community, but I've often had things said like at the games, like when I'm going to get a beer, or like I'm at like going to get a coffee, like in the morning before the games, like at Starbucks. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing wearing that? Like, you aren't Scottish, are you? Like, and I'm like, no, are you Scottish? Like, hey, are you Indian? Do you go to yoga class? Like, I don't understand like what the issue is. But yeah, I mean, I think people just get kind of, it's confusing for them, I think, in all honesty, like to see someone that, again, doesn't look like what they think or a drum major should look like. Like, it doesn't look like a white guy or a white girl with her Highland dancer. It's like, I think women also experience that same thing where it's like, why are you playing the bagpipes? Like, I mean, I think now it's definitely much better, and I don't think there's that much around it. But I think, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of my primer of like in general, what it's like. I think being gay, I think there are weirdly, there's a lot of LGBTQ plus people within the pipe band community, whether we know them or not, or whether they choose to present themselves, or whether they choose to kind of be, out there with it and like share their experience in their life. I think that does exist. And like you said, sexuality and gender representation is a spectrum. So, there's all kinds of people, and especially in like an arts-based music environment, like you're just going to have more of those creative types that I think lend themselves more to being open and kind of having that understanding of like the spectrum. And like, I'm not like just, straight or gay, and I'm not, a guy or a girl. Like it's kind of more fluid that way.
Do you think that's true in the UK? Like in the US, I think that would be true.
I'm about to say, especially in the southwestern US, like in California,
right,
in like Nevada. I mean, probably even a bit in Arizona.
Arizona, I bet it's pretty open, yeah. But like, I would think like the UK, because there's a lot more women starting to play, and obviously that's big switch over the last 20 years. Like, I don't know, however long.
Yeah, but the vast majority of people who play in bands in UK have never seen any shade of brown person in their life.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's very rare. I think Angel would have a lot to say about this if we could ever get him fucking on a goddamn show.
He's in the chat too, but he'll never come on the show.
It's true. Yeah, no, I mean, I think going to, we went to the Worlds in 2018, the grade 3 band, and then we had gone in 2011 and in 2009 before that. Mm-hmm. And it's always, I think, you just get the look. I mean, no one's going to come up and say something. I think that the only people brave enough in the UK to say something are like the older ladies that come up. And I think the biggest thing I got was every time there was like a group of old women at Glasgow was, did you dye your hair to match your kilt, or did it happen that way on purpose? Like, how did so? And I'm like, no, I mean, like, I just.
Dude, that's amazing.
So then I talked around with them and just say, like, no, I actually didn't join a band until I found one that matched my hair.
Also, Trevor does a fantastic.
That is amazing.
Scottish,
female Scottish
biddy.
That is amazing. Wow.
I mean, I got to give shout out to Elsie Stumeyer, who's like my Scottish grandmother, the literal author of The Art of Kilt Making, who taught me how to make kilts. But I mean, having spent multiple days with her getting yelled at and crying in the fetal position, I've definitely picked up her affectation a little bit. So, and my love for gin and tonics.
There you go. So hold on. So when you were learning to make kilts, so the Scottish master, if you will, was also an asshole to you, just like your your pipe teacher,
Just like any band,
any pipe teacher, any pipe major.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, she is definitely a hard ass, but she's a sweetheart. I think she. The first thing she said was, "All right, so you take the needle in your right hand," and I said, "I'm left-handed," and she's like, "No, fuck, like I don't know what." You can't take the class. I'm like, well, I already paid all the money and I have all the tartan, I have everything. I took 5 days off of work. So she's like, you're going to have to learn, you're going to have to learn to sew with your right hand. So I had to learn to sew with my right. So then I think I gained her respect in that moment. And now when I see her, she just likes to talk shit. She should have her own podcast, actually. She really just likes to talk shit about people that can't make kilts. And
that's fantastic.
She's
like, to talk to her.
I'll say we're going to get her contact info from you later and we'll have her on the show.
Yeah, but she's an absolute jewel. She's at Pleasanton every year. I went to her place after Pleasanton this past year and stayed there for a couple of days. She's like, I'm going to take you to my favorite restaurant, Applebee's. And I said, I can't wait.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, if you grew up in Scotland, I suppose that's like high art.
Dude, fucking Macca's was like
but she has
Grail.
that place like on lockdown. That she walks in and people are like, oh, Elsie, like, let me get you your drink. Like, let me get you your special, like, whatever you want. Like, dude. Oh, you're going to have your usual. Okay, great. So yeah, but she's an absolute sweetheart, but she definitely is not shy about what kilts she does not like. And she'll say, did you see so-and-so's kilt? I said, yeah. She's like, it's not a kilt.
We gotta have her on the show and we'll just like do a live review. We'll just pick a bunch of kilts and be like, all right, what do you think of this one?
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, she'd be great at it.
But yeah, so kind of backtracking a little bit. It's one of those things where it's interesting that like you've had the same, and because like I mean everyone gets that experience when they're in uniform of like, well, like why are you dressed like that? And it's
right.
Like,
yeah, even you and I get that.
Yeah.
And I look as, I mean, I'm not Scottish at all.
I'm a fucking 6 foot tall redhead, dude. Like, why are you asking me why I'm wearing a fucking pipe band uniform?
I show up to a gig and people are like, you're exactly what I would think a piper would look like. Because of the beard mostly. But
well, it's because I haven't seen you naked.
Well, that too.
They'd expect a piper to have,
But even we get stupid questions like that. Like, why are you Scottish? Like, you always get those, like, are you Scottish? No. I just like pipes. I just like music. I learned because I like pipes. That's it.
Yeah, it's like why do people in metal bands wear black? Like, why do it's you fucking, it's just, this is the thing. This is
why
the thing
is
I wear
the
to
sky blue?
Yeah.
But I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had solo gigs where it's always interesting. Like, I think they hire a bagpiper and they think they're getting something. I think it's like when you hire a bagpiper, it's like you think you're getting a certain look, and then the person arrives, and in this case, it's me. So you can imagine that. I think it was like at someone's, it was like a retirement party or something in a pretty conservative neighborhood in Southern California. And I drove up, and I'm like, I know this has the potential to just be weird. But I answered the door, and she looked at me, and she was so confused. And then she's like, well, you could see like the words above her head, like, you're not Scottish and you don't look Scottish. And then she looks down and she goes, but you're wearing a kilt and all the things you should be wearing, and you're holding an instrument. And she's like, and then it's like, she looks back up at me and she's like, oh crap, this is a person I hired and I can't escape now because now I have to deliver a bagpiper to this party.
Yeah, it's like cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've talked to Angel about this. I can't remember if we've ever asked him, but I often wonder, and
when he shows up to a gig,
like if he gets hired privately, or if I send him to something because like I can't do it, or I'll call Angel sometimes, and like he shows up, like, do you think? I'm curious, like, it sounds weird to say, like, are people disappointed? Like this black dude shows up who like, wait, that's not what we were expecting.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we try to get him on the show is to talk about that kind of stuff too. But like, no, like it is one of those. It's a cognitive dissonance thing where it's like you have this expectation in your head.
Yeah, you have this idea in your head
of what
Scottish
a bagpiper
looks like,
and it's like
Scottish,
and it's like an old white dude dressed like a drum major but playing bagpipes
with a giant fucking hat.
Yeah, like basically that's what people think it is. I mean, I still have it. Like we've talked about this on the show before, where it's like I'd go play gigs and people be like, "Oh, like are you Scottish?" I'm like, "No, I'm from here. I'm
American.
Yeah, I'm from Nevada."
American.
And like, well, I'm Scottish. My family's Scottish. I'm like, go to Scotland.
If I could do it,
guess what? When you go to Scotland and Ireland and you're like, I'm Scottish, I'm Irish, so like, no, you're fucking American, dude.
They fucking hate that. They fucking drives them nuts.
Like people ask me where I'm from, like I'm from Nevada, man. Like it's a desert. It's super cool. You should come out.
Obviously, America's a different place because everybody's from somewhere. I mean, their genetics are from somewhere, but like we take pride in like, especially Northeast. I'm from Northeast. People are like proud to be Irish,
thing.
but I'm like,
you're not Irish.
I've been here for 100. My family's been here 150 years. Or
You're
more.
not fucking Irish.
We're not at all.
Yeah,
like when at what point are we allowed to say we're just American and just be done with it?
Because that's what everybody else thinks anyway. And then guess what? Then you get to go to South America. And you say that you're American, and they're like, no, you're from the United States.
Yeah, that's
like,
different.
Technically, we're
it's
all.
thing.
Yeah. The amount of cab drivers in Argentina, it's like, they'd ask me where I was from in Spanish, and I'm like, oh, I'm from America. And they're like, yeah, so am I. Like, you're from the United States? And I'm like, don't be a cunt about it, all right?
Yeah, well, they are being kind of cunts about it.
Like, it's like when I say America, you think of the United States. You don't think of you don't think of Canada to fucking.
You don't think of these two continents.
Yeah, you don't think of Canada all the way down to fucking.
People get really offended just when you say America because the United States is known as America, right? At least
colloquially.
To us,
I think so.
But like, can like anybody else in these two continents get offended by that?
This is why I just say Nevada. I'm like, where are you from? Like, Nevada.
Yeah, or Nevada or Nevada.
Are you trying to trigger me right now? Are you trying to trigger me?
So I'm curious though, Trevor. Have you ever? Okay, so you told the story where you saw in her face within 3 seconds the whole discussion in her head as she was having this.
Well, it's like this is not what I had envisioned, and it's like, and the thing that frustrates me about this is you're gonna get that moment where you hire a bagpiper, and it's not the fucking 70-year-old guy dressed like a drum major. Mm-hmm. And you know why? It's because that person probably knows how to fucking play.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they're not a 70-year-old dude dressed like a drum major. It's because they probably know what the fuck they're doing, you know?
Well, yeah, if a guy's got a big dumb hat, he probably sucks. Well, I mean, who knows? But, I mean, if in the UK, that's probably not true, but here.
Dude.
I mean, we've had the same thing with women. Like, we've had gigs that straight up are like, we only want male bagpipers.
Big time.
And, you know, we often just say, well, I'm sorry, like, our band is basically half female, and so then you can go find another bagpiper, because first of all, it's kind of ridiculous that you're making that ask, and secondly, like, that is like, our band was founded by a woman, like, our band was formed by a woman. A lot of our members are women, and I think that's, you know, a thing that makes the pipe band community and our band great, is like that we have a mix of people like that. We have people from all walks of life. It's like we have that diversity. So I mean, I think Southern California is definitely one experience. We did go to Stone Mountain one year, which was quite interesting.
I can only imagine.
Oh, belly of the beast right there, buddy.
So
Devil went down to Georgia. Oh man!
How was your Stone Mountain experience?
Did Joe Brady look at you cross-eyed like, "Hey boy, what are you doing here?"
I mean, you know, the Southern folks are very polite, so they don't say anything outright, but you can feel that there's constant judgment just all over their face for everything.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think the funniest, most memorable standout moment was them taking a steward taking us to our tent and saying like, "Hey, here's your tent," and you know, he was like. He kind of looked like the Colonel a little bit. Like, I was like, are you like, you're like the KFC guy, but like you're wearing like, you know, Highland dress. And it's like, it's exactly what I would have expected from Stone Mountain. So it's awesome. You gave me like a mint julep, like as we walked by the stewards area. And then we get to the tent and he goes, "Oh, welcome to Stone Mountain, guys. Like, I'd tell you how this mountain came to be, but I don't think you want to hear that story."
It's full of it's full of racism and horrible shit.
Yes, exactly. So I said, "Yeah, we're aware. We don't need to hear it again. Thank you for bringing us to our area."
Yeah. It's like we know how the vast majority of these towns were established.
Right.
We don't need a refresher.
Yeah.
And we will be sure to leave before the sun sets.
Definitely, man. Oh my god. So I'm curious.
Is Stone Mountain, is that the Highland Games where they have the they have the giant statue of Robert E. Lee jacking off and choking himself in the middle of the field, or is that a different one?
With a noose?
Yeah.
Just to be offensive, just to be extra offensive, he's hanging himself with a noose. I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, basically.
Also, I like how you're like all of a sudden you transformed in your example Joe Brady into a Southern person. As if he's not from fucking Chicago.
He's from Chicago. I'm Joe Brady from Chicago.
Also, everybody drink.
Oh yeah, fuck. So no, Trevor. I'm curious. Like, what's the war? Has anything ever really bad happened? Like, what's the war story you got? Like, Whether it's
God.
you're obviously Japanese and
Yeah, so well, it's funny. I'm my dad's Japanese, and then my mom's half Chinese and half Mexican. So
fuck's sake,
I'm a
man.
bit of a mix. Yeah. So
How the fuck do you get
Dude,
the bagpipes?
I don't know, but I want to come over for family dinner night.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
yeah,
be
it's
amazing.
sushi, nachos, and chow mein.
I am in.
Chow mein nachos. That sounds amazing. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
I mean, I can't really think of I think the worst. There hasn't been a moment that's been, and I mean, again, this is just me. I think that I've heard of other people's experiences that have definitely been a little bit more negative than this. I don't know what it is. I've been lucky to avoid it, or maybe people are too scared to say something because I usually have a scowl on my face. So it's like
You have resting
I'm
bitch
scared to
face?
say
Is
that.
He's got a scheme, dude. He's gonna.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like I think I can remember a time of somebody, they're just like, I think it's not like the things that are like big statements that are kind of damaging, that are like, oh, you don't look white, so you can't play the bagpipes. I think that it's more subtle than that, and I think, especially in light of what's going on in the United States right now with the Black Lives Matter movement, I think a lot of this stuff is like a little bit more subtle. So it's like, things like, hey, like you can't be in my band unless you change your hair, has been something that's been said. You can, or like, hey, like you don't look Scottish. Like, where are you from? Is like, some other just like, small. Like, you realize like what you're saying when you say that. It's like I'm like fourth generation. Like I don't even know. Like I can't even speak anything but English, and sometimes I can barely speak English. So,
Especially after
like,
a few G&Ts.
Exactly. Things like, oh, like it's like, oh, my boyfriend. Oh wait, what do you mean your boyfriend? Well, I mean my boyfriend. I mean he's a guy and we're in a partnership. Like we're dating.
I mean
that's
my
what you
male
call a
sexual
boyfriend,
partner.
Yeah, what do you got to say
Right.
about that, bitch?
Yeah, I don't know. Partner is definitely the PC like way to go, and it's like the all-inclusive term. But it's always been a thing for me. It's like I feel like that's kind of like hiding behind things a little bit. And like I don't. It's like I'm just gonna say boyfriend. Like I don't, or girlfriend. Like whatever. It's like saying partner is. I was like I'm not a police officer or something. It's not like I'm like this is my partner.
You guys don't ride around pulling over perps. See, I dated a girl who would also because her family was very involved in the community, and so it was like she would introduce me at these events. She'd be like, this is my partner Josh. This is my partner Josh.
Oh,
even though we were in a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah, her parents were gay.
And honestly, now what I do, and this is my move. No one has to use this unless they want to. Every time I introduce like my current girlfriend to someone, I'm just like, this is my lover.
Lover is the best word, dude.
Like,
that's such
because
it makes people uncomfortable. But it's also funny.
It makes you sound like you're goddamn like bossa nova,
like
you're
a
some
champion.
like. And I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, this is my
lover.
This is my lover.
I like that idea. That's a great idea.
It's very Austin Powers or something.
Yeah, that's when it's just like, this is the fantastic human being who has chosen to have sex with me
on a semi-regular basis.
So there you go. Anyone out there that gets tired of saying boyfriend, girlfriend, or like you agree, like it is kind of cop out to say partner, just say lover. This is my lover.
Right. And I mean, look, partner is perfectly fine. I think like that's definitely a catch-all, and it covers all the bases. But I've always been like, I think it comes from the place of, I think there was times where I would say, or someone would say, oh, that's your partner. And I'd say, yes, it's my boyfriend. And I want to make you uncomfortable because you are clearly saying that because you don't want to say boyfriend.
You don't want to say boyfriend because of your own hangups. So guess what?
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to make you do it.
Well, so Trevor,
Right.
do you have a little bit of you sound like kind of like a dick. Like you're like pushing people's buttons on purpose. Like
Why not?
You know what?
I do it all the
every
time. Don't get me
that
wrong.
They have
I'm
to
just
announce my name before we play. I'm like, yeah, what's my last name? Like, I dare you to say it. Like, I mean, one, I dare you to say it correctly, and two, yes, it's a Japanese last name, so get over it. And it comes after Pipe Major. So.
Pipe Major Trevor Takahashi. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think it's also I don't know. I could be wrong on this, but I feel like it's more. I feel like the United States in particular and the residents of the United States are more ignorant of the fact that there is piping and drumming all over the fucking world.
Yeah, the U.S. seems particularly bad about that.
Yeah, it's like
Canada,
guys, like
not so much, Australia,
there's a fucking the band from India that like won
they
last year. Was they from England?
Somewhere in
Bangladesh?
that. That wasn't in Malaysia or something. I think.
But
Malaysia,
it's like guys, like there's bands in Malaysia that are winning the fucking World Pipe Band Championships in Scotland. There's bands in Hong Kong. There's the fucking Gaitas in fucking Mexico City,
California,
like,
apparently.
Yeah, like it's like guys, like there's bands.
But we don't.
Everywhere.
We do a terrible job of promoting and advertising it here.
Well, I just don't think
maybe because they're so tied to the UK because they're still, the Australia for sure. Canada, I think, is as well. Still technically.
Well, I would like
there's some tie to the Queen. I don't remember how.
I would like to posit a theory, and then I'll go around the room, and you guys can kind of tell me what you think. So the theory that I would like to posit is that realistically, in like mainstream American culture, pipe bands don't exist. Like nobody in America that's mainstream normal culture stuff. If they're not connected to the community, they don't know shit about pipe bands. They don't
That's easy. That is 100% true.
Yeah.
People do not know we exist.
Like
at all. In mainstream America.
In mainstream culture in Canada, pipe bands are part of that. In mainstream culture actually even more so on the UK, on the east coast of the US, maybe you get some pockets with like police and fire bands.
Yeah, Boston, New York, maybe a little bit more, but in Chicago. But other than that,
but like UK, Ireland, Australia, Canada, pipe bands are just part of life.
Yes, correct. I wonder if it's Trevor. You used to you played other instruments. You played in high school, like you were a band geek. You said.
Yeah, I played clarinet.
So I wonder if it's like
in middle school and high school.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like because American marching band type stuff, whatever that is, whatever they call that, DCI type stuff, whatever, is so prominent here. Like it's huge, right, in high school and college.
Yeah.
But pipe band is not. But everywhere else, UK, like of course there's blood and thunder stuff in Ireland or whatever.
Yeah, just fifes and people.
But then
just
Canada's
taking out
drums.
their frustrations on a bass drum instead of their wife.
Yeah, there's that. But in Australia and New Zealand, where it's pipe band's a big thing, like I don't think like American. I don't even know if it's American. I say that because that's how because I played in that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's really what it is, but that's sort of like marching band kind of stuff is so prominent in high school and college. I wonder if that's because that takes over. Like that's a big thing, especially in college. Like the whole competition with drum corps and DCI stuff and college marching bands and all that stuff. Like it's way bigger than what we do. Way bigger.
And like even like speaking to like my experience in school, everyone was in orchestra. And that was the focus.
Well,
like,
you went to I
went to an art school. But
I went to I didn't. We didn't have an orchestra in my school.
Like everyone was in orchestra, and it was always like, hey, you're gonna get into a Philharmonic somewhere. Doesn't matter where, but this is like a feeder. It's like a feeder program for Philharmonic and like pipe band. I think maybe it's more the fact that it's like career based education, right? Like you can get a job in an orchestra. You can get a job in a fucking marching band for, Army, Navy, a fucking football team, anything.
Right.
But, like, you're not going to, like, if you're in the pipe band community, you're going to do piping and drumming and also have a job.
Yes, you're definitely going to have another job or be poor, like me. Actually, Trevor, what is your day job?
I oversee marketing production for Bravo and E! Entertainment. So lots of making of reality show commercials and show artwork that's plastered all over billboards and whatnot.
It's your fault.
I know. I apologize.
It's all
reality television is all your fault.
Every Real Housewives series is Trevor's fault.
Oh my God. So I do have. Can we talk about his band? Because I have questions.
Yeah. Are you going to talk about the World specifically? Because we are going to talk about that next week.
No.
Okay.
I'm not about the Worlds, but
spoiler, kids. We're going to talk about the Worlds next week.
Next week, Trevor's back, and we're going to talk about the Worlds when he kicked ass. But so
much ass.
So there's a couple things. One, there's obviously the hair question. So this is my earliest memory of Trevor. And Trevor, I don't know if you remember me back then, but you and I
used to compete against each other.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We competed against each other like grade 2 solos. What? fucking 8 years ago, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I remember fucking Trevor because the hair, obviously, your hair matched your kilt, and I was like, fuck that guy, and he's good, he's a good player. And I'm like, fuck that guy.
Were you more mad that he had dyed hair, or more mad that he was good?
No, I was mad that he was good, but I took it out on his hair in my head.
So there you go. But Fusco just explained everyone's bitching about your hair in pipe band community. They were mad that you were good, but they took it out on your hair.
Absolutely. And I will be 100% honest. Like, I was super, like, it had nothing to do with you. I didn't know you at all. I just knew. I mean, we said hi. We would say hi to each other.
We used to say hi to each other through gritted teeth if one of us beat each other. Right?
Exactly correct. I'm like, fucking sure.
Like, yeah, you must be that person on the sheet. Like,
exactly. But, and I remember this because Angel's a huge fan of yours, by the way. I don't know if you know this, but Angel loves you. And I remember, like, Angel's always.
Oh, I don't know him personally, but I think, yeah.
That's because he won't. That's because he won't come to games because he won't come to.
He won't come to anything because he's a fucking pain in my ass. But he absolutely loves you, and he was always like, "Oh, that fucking." He would always fuck with me because he's like, "Oh, Trevor's gonna beat you today." You know that, right? He'd always fuck with me, right? I'm like, "God damn it, fuck Trevor." Anyway, but I didn't actually have anything against you, obviously. But those were some of my earliest memories. Is we used to play in grade 2 together back 8 years ago, whatever. But then Trevor took over the band, and then your fucking solo career went out the window, right?
As it often does.
As it often does.
Yeah.
I tried to do both for a while because I took over my band in 2007 and stayed soloing for probably till 2014 or 2015, something like that. Man, that's fucking difficult, right? Like, how hard is it to run a band and then also try to keep up with your own personal fucking piping goals?
Well, it's like having kids, dude. It comes down to the fact that it's like, okay, as soon as you take on leadership of a band, it's like having kids. My priorities are no longer the priority.
Not at all. Correct. Like you're
on a lucky day.
Your personal growth means nothing.
On a lucky day, you can take care of everyone else's problems and leave yourself enough time to take care of your own. Mm-hmm. But that very rarely fucking happens. Like happen.
Yeah. So tell me about that a little bit. Like when did you take over Pasadena?
2015. Okay. So, gosh, it's been a while now. But yeah, it was. I always think back to the days where I was just, a member, and it's like, you solos in the morning, and then you get ready for band, and
mm-hmm.
it's like you just listen to what needs to be done. Like, I need to be having my instrument up ready at this time and rehearse here with the band. Obviously, when I took over the band, I was like, I gotta reprioritize. I can't do solos anymore. So it's been weird to not do them. I don't know. Like, during this quarantine, though, I will tell you, I've been kind of dabbling back in solo materials and P-Bruck and whatnot. So,
mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe solos might be the only thing we can do because it requires only one person and
Correct.
A judge and not a whole band.
I teach this. I teach a bunch of people, obviously, but I have this one student who's particularly good, and he played a P-Bruck.
Oh, thank
recently.
you.
Not it wasn't you. and he recorded his P-Bruck recently for me that he was working on. I'm like, fucking hell, this sounds so good. And granted, he's like a grade 4 player, but for grade 4, it was remarkable.
Yeah,
I'm like, I gotta get back into fucking
good foundation,
P-Bruck,
man.
Because it's so amazing when you
I'm
hear.
I'm still trying to learn it, so I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I've been playing bagpipes for almost like 20 years. And
almost 20
years.
Never.
I don't know why there's sheet music for it, because it's like, hey, all this stuff on the page, it's not the way you play it.
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just a general idea of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back. So Trevor, so you took over the band. Who was in charge previous, and how did this come about?
Yeah, so the band was founded, in 2006. So Jennifer Fabre founded the band back then.
Who's a legend?
A lot of the members. What was that?
Who's a legend? She's awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. So she and a bunch of the other folks from Misty Isle kind of came together and formed the Pasadena Scots in 2006.
Yep.
I remember that.
This is me. I was in Misty Isle in 2004 when they went to the Worlds. This is my connection to a lot of those people.
I mean, some of this will come up on the Worlds talk, but yeah, I still remember when everyone was calling it Misty Exile.
Yep.
Man, they were like all encompassing. Like
People
everybody
were-
come to us,
dude,
They
yeah.
they fucking engulfed everything.
People were a little butthurt, man.
Oh
Like,
my
it
god,
was-
were they ever?
and we were just sitting there.
But
in
they
our,
were good. What were you gonna fucking do?
We were sitting there in our like shitty, you know,
Oh, we were terrible, but
Our,
we-
our shitty Southern Nevada band, and we're just like, why is everyone hating on these folks? Like,
Yeah,
it's fucking.
But
good
we were
band.
under them. We were like their feeder band to a certain extent. But like Bryce Parker went in, like he was significantly
Oh,
involved
yeah,
in
man.
that. And then
Like, we would get instruction.
yeah, they helped us out. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So okay, keep going. Sorry.
No, yeah, it's so 2006. You know, we went to the Worlds a couple times. I took over, or I fell into the pipe sergeant position in 2012, and then in 2015, Jennifer was just kind of in the early stages of starting McLeod Ale Brewing Company in Van Nuys, which is amazing. And she's like, look, you know, I've started this band. It's been like 10 years. Like, you're the pipe sergeant. She had asked before, and I had been like, you know what, if I want to do this job, I want to do it right. And like right now, work is crazy. Like, I'm kind of really struggling with, you know, keeping up with all the stuff at work and kind of having a life and whatnot. So she's like, you know what, it's either going to happen now or not. So like, you got to either take the band or we got to figure something else out. So I was like, all right, if it has to happen to keep the band going, like, you know, I'll make it happen. And so
how often that happens? It's like,
you got
listen,
suckered.
Yeah, you got suckered, dude. You're like, hey, I'm gonna quit, but it's just gonna all go to shit unless you take over. Like, she fucking suckered
Yeah,
me.
if
dude.
you did this to me, I would. If you did this to me, I would
This
tell
is
you
exactly
to go.
what happened to me. Danny came to me. He's like, I got real life shit to deal with. You should take over. And I'm like, fuck, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah, if you did this to me, I would say go fuck yourself.
yeah, I mean, it's like, it's crazy. And it's like, look, starting a business is insane. I can't even imagine. So I was like, look, yes, I love this band. I've only ever been in this band. I grew up here. I joined like less than a year after you guys formed. And so you know, it's like, I'll make it happen. So it was one of those things that I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, how is this going to, like, I don't even know what I'm doing. But you know, it's like, I've had Glenn Kvidal has been an amazing, you know, kind of mentor and source of, just like a bunch of information and help and leadership. And, you know, I've had so many people come in through the band that have helped kind of shape things and coach us and teach me, honestly, just like the ways to do things. And honestly, some of the ways that we shouldn't do things. Like, there are some, you know, experiences I've had just to know this is probably not a constructive way to run things. So, you know, looking back, it's like, I remember how stressed and like, it was to be like, all right, it's your band now. Like, you have to figure it out. But I wouldn't change anything. It's like, it was a little bit crazy and it was stressful and it was like a kind of crazy long road. But, you know, it is like you said, it's like a child. It's like you have the child and you're like, oh my God, I'm stressed. How do I take care of this baby? I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. And then you're like, oh my God, like the baby's grown and it's like so cute now. And like, it does great things. And like,
Look,
you know,
their kilts are fucking ironed.
exactly.
Oh my God. So
I just have Elsie do that. I'm
There
like,
you
come
go.
yell at my band when their uniforms aren't on properly.
So Fusco,
I have a question for you.
before you get
Trevor.
into your question,
Okay.
we gotta get Jen on the show as a guest so she can tell you how to get out of being a pipe major and instead start a successful business.
Yes, absolutely. We definitely need to talk to Jennifer Bray and say like how do I get out of this nonsense? No, I like Jen. She's a good woman. She's a fucking hell of a player. I remember one year we were at San Diego. This was I think she was still in charge of the band. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago now, or whatever it was. And we marched up to the mass bands playing Jim Thompson because that's our tune. And she's like, and we weren't competing because we can't fucking compete. I don't know.
Probably didn't have numbers.
Goddamn drum corps.
Yeah,
But anyway, so
it was
she's
one of the
like-
ones where
guys
no
sound-
drummers could go.
She's like, you guys should compete. You guys sound good. Like, Jen, that's great. I appreciate that. You're really cool. I like it. Yeah, she's good.
Yes, we should. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Because we all had already bought hotel rooms before we knew that one fucking snare couldn't
One
go.
snare drum fucking doesn't show up, and now we're all fucked. We're all here. So anyway, so I have a question for Trevor. I want to know about your Crisco experience in Edinburgh.
Gosh, who told you that?
I can't reveal my sources.
This is what happened. This is what the board was warning about. No, it's actually a really funny story, and I'm happy to tell it again. So 2009, we go to the Worlds in 4B. It's the first time the band's gone. It's the first time I've been, to Scotland. So everyone's kind of super pumped about it. And me and one of the tenor drummers, Rebecca, we kind of like just fell into place that we were like the only two people without like kids or like a boyfriend or girlfriend or any partner to kind of be around with. So we're like, all right, I guess it's just us two, like the single people that are like just hanging around, like causing havoc across Scotland. So one day we decided to go to Edinburgh, and I was like, hey, like I heard that the oldest LGBT center is in Edinburgh, and it's underneath this restaurant called Nom de Plume. So I was like, we got to eat there. So we ate there. They gave us free condoms. I was like, wow, this is like crazy. Like this is like we are in like
never trust a free condom.
Exactly. I was like, I mean, Rebecca's like, well, I guess it's different than mints. Like you don't get mints with the check, but you get. We were looking up. One of the reasons we went to the cafe was because they had Wi-Fi, and she's like, there's like this there's a shop around the corner that we should go to, and I'm like, of course you want to go to like the shop with all the fun toys and whatnot. So we go there, and there's just like a massive wall of personal lubricant products, and and there's also like this little 5'2" man with like no shirt and leather pants and a harness on, and a bald head, who's just like scowling at us, like as we're kind of just laughing at the names of some of these products. One of the products was called Boy Butter, which is it's still a product.
What the fuck?
Episode title, write it down.
Boy Butter. Hold on. Boy Butter.
So the Rebecca could not like stop laughing about it. She's like, this thing's called Boy Butter. Oh my gosh. Da, da, da. And she's like, look at the logo. It's like the Country Crock logo, but like with like a giant muscular fist and like a churn, like a butter churn. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, it's quite creative, Rebecca. I must say. So the guy, and then she goes, oh, it's right next to the Crisco. Like, I guess I can like have a good time and also make a pie at the same time. And she was just joking around. And the shop owner like had enough at that point because we were the only people in the store. And he's like, that's not for bacon. And she's like, oh, what, the Crisco? And he's like, it's not for bacon. And she's like, yeah, I know. But you can make pie crust and cookies with it. I mean, it's a great fat to put in baking items, and like we use it all the time in the United States to make, great pie crust. They come out really flaky and da da da. And he's like, no, but it's not for bacon. And she's like, she was just playing dumb and just pulling his leg, and she's all like, well, if it's not for bacon, then what is it for? And he said, it's for fisting. And then she looked at him straight in the face and said, oh, right. Yeah, I know. But you can also make pie crust. So, I mean, and he was just, we eventually just left like right after that. Cause I'm like, you're really upsetting these people. We got to leave. I mean, that was before we went to the Royal Mile. And then I went to a shop and looking at small pipes. And this guy was like, oh, this is called a small pipe. This is another prank that we played when we were there. And I was like, oh, really? Like, how does it work? And like, what do you do? And he was like, okay, well, let me show you how to play it. And he's like, you put it under your arm here. And I was like, I was playing so stupid. Like I've never played a bagpipe in my life. And Rebecca's trying to keep a straight face. Like she's like, interesting. Great. And I'm like this. Okay. Do I put I was putting my hands on the wrong way, like just on purpose, like putting my right hand above my left hand. And he's like, all right, then you just strike in the bag and start the drums. And I'm like, all right, cool. So like this, and then I just started like playing a bunch of like tunes, and he looked at me like I had just had a baby on the floor in the shop. And then I was like, oh, that was great, thank you. And he's like, he didn't say anything, and I'm like, I'm not gonna buy him, but it was fun.
You fucking asshole.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you remember we did that interview with Stuart Little, and he did something like that?
Oh yeah. Well,
that was when he broke the channel.
Yeah, he broke the fucking channel.
He's like, oh, I want to pretend like I
Wow.
don't know what I'm doing. And then he
Yeah,
broke
and
the
then
fucking
he
chair.
went like he wanted to pretend like he didn't know what he was doing with some piper, and he went to go like adjust the guy's chanter so he could play.
Yeah.
And it was a Blackwood, so as soon as he twisted it, he broke.
He broke the fucking
Oh
chair.
my God.
Did you hear that, Trevor? You haven't heard that story?
No, I haven't
Oh.
heard that story.
We asked her his most embarrassing.
That would have
bagpipe
been
story.
that would have been the Inside the Circle interview.
Inside
on
the Circle, yeah, it's
the Vegas
great.
Pipe Man page.
Go check out the YouTube, Las Vegas Pipe
Yeah,
Man
we should
YouTube.
start resharing some of the old stuff, man.
Probably
We shot some cool shit back then.
Yeah, it was
back
good
back when the world hadn't ended.
shit. Before the world ended.
No, I remember doing that. It's a very similar bit. When I was at like Banger Brewing getting beers or something, and Graham was playing it like across the street at one of the hotels. And I didn't know it was him, but I heard bagpipes. I was like, oh shit, I hear bagpipes. I'm gonna go see. I'm like drinking a beer. I'm like, I'm gonna go see who's playing. And it was fucking Gunyon. Who he was on an episode, I don't remember which one, but he was on an episode of the podcast.
A couple months ago.
He was the loud British guy.
Yeah.
And I remember like I walk up in the crowd and he's sitting there like he's playing inside the casino, like doing his thing, whatever. And I'm like, oh shit. And he looks at me and he's like, does anybody want to try? You, young man, do you want to try? And he points at me and I was like, yeah, totally. And I just like kind of squawked it a few times. And I was like, oh, is it like this? Like squawk, squawk. And like drones are fucking going up and down. And then I just like kicked it in, like actually did my strike, like kicked it in, just like ripped some jigs real quick. And everyone's like, motherfucker.
That's a great gag. Great gag. Absolutely. So hold on, Trevor. I have another question for you. So you're in. Fuck, I don't know if we should go into this now or next week. Fuck it.
Is it regarding the World's win?
No, it has nothing to do with
Okay.
the worlds. So, well, maybe it does in a sort of a way, but
I'm scared now. God, you
I'll
guys
stop you.
research.
I'll stop you if it gets weird.
so one.
If it gets to be
how
too
difficult
spoilery, I'll
is
stop
it to run a band? You're the pipe major, so you're the ultimate person in charge, right?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that we've set up our board in such a way that like I'm not, I don't know. I'm not like the ultimate say on everything. Like we
ideally
have a
the pipe
president, we have a
majors-
vice president, but like yeah, I mean, I think in
Musical
terms of
leadership.
in general, yes. Like and for the grade 3 band, I kind of run things. So
Right. So, but you've had a significant change about to happen or happening currently, right?
yeah, yes,
Yes. Your drum sergeant is leaving.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's huge, and especially
is
somebody
huge,
of
yeah.
that quality. Like we're talking Glenn motherfucking Cavill, like arguably one of the best American drummers ever, maybe. Right? Potentially.
I mean, and a piper. I mean, have you heard him
Well,
play pipes?
I've
I
heard
mean,
him play
he's
pipes. Yeah, oh
fantastic.
yeah, that fucking cunt. No, absolutely. Like his arrangements, like he was so significantly involved. Like, and he's moving to Chicago, right? So he
Yeah.
just announced that recently. I'm aware of this, and he just publicly announced it. So like, what now, man? Because you guys, that was your drum corps was the fucking shit. Glenn Cavill's
Yeah.
drum corps was the shit. That was a thing, right?
Yes, it was.
It
Yeah.
gave me wood
'Cause
when I would hear
Glenn
it play.
plays in fucking. Well, he's been playing in shots for years now. I don't know if he still plays in shots, but he has on and off over the years continually played in shots. So, like that's significant, right? So what do you do next? Like, because you guys are like obviously people look at you. Pasadena's like, oh, they're the grade 3 band. Everybody's looking.
They're the
at you.
premier.
But they're the premier grade 3 band. But also they're relatively small. They've always been relatively small, and they've been successful being small, which is rare, incredibly rare to be.
Well, I mean,
to be a small
much
band
like
of-
your penis, they've been successful but small.
So true, but right? I mean, ultimately, you guys got like 3 snares, generally speaking. Eight to 10 pipes.
I mean, we're a smaller group, and if we want to talk about like this big change that was just announced, it's something that's been discussed. I think, in the recent history of the band, it's like Glenn and his wife Amy we've been talking about this potential for a while, and
Right.
it's not a huge devastating blow by any means. I think there's so many ways forward. We've got plans in place that to keep the band going, and it's no doubt that Glenn was a huge part of like the enormous growth and obviously the win in 2018 at the World.
Sure.
Not only on the drumming end, but like he like you said, his arrangements, like he writes a lot of our tunes, and he's kind of helped me to grow as a leader and a pipe major in the band as well. So it's no doubt we're going to miss out on that for sure. But we do have a very talented group of drummers that Glenn has cultivated, and I think we've got a few ways forward. We're going to talk about them, and I think, like we were talking about earlier with the boring admin stuff that happens during this quarantine, it's like, what better time to kind of figure those plans out than now, and to kind of shake things up and rework things a little bit, just so that once we can hit the ground running, we're good to go. But I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that Glenn's going to be able to escape me either. It's like, there is ways to get a hold of him, and we'll make sure that he still has a kind of line of sight into what's happening. And
yeah, but you're giving me a very political answer right now. I want to know, you're in your heart, you're like, fuck, dude.
Did you shit your pants?
Like, you're like, fucking, the drum corps was always solid. I don't have to worry about that. Now I got to worry about that. Right? It's
true. Yes, it's something it's definitely turning things on its head a little bit. But again, it's like, it is a political answer. And yes, I think it was like, oh man, like here's the news. Like, I got the news, and like, it's never something that's easy to hear.
I mean,
like,
obviously you knew it was coming because he's been talking about it for a little bit, but
totally. So that's why I was like, well, we already kind of knew this is going to happen. And like, we've got some prelim kind of plans in place to make sure that things still move on. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's I think we both shed a tear or two in the last couple of weeks. And,
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been a bittersweet news. I know it's definitely a new start for Glenn and his wife Amy, who's obviously another huge part of the pipe corps in the band. So.
Yeah. Also, how awkward is it going to be when both bands get to a contest and
because we're both in grade 3,
and one of you slaps the other one?
Yeah, like, well, Hoinike's already. Like, I mean, Glenn's going to join Hoinike's.
Like Trevor's going to be walking away with a little trophy in his hand, like, and the fuck are you,
dude? Fuck are you?
How are those?
That was very racist, Josh.
How are those Chicago winners treating you, bitch?
So do you have somebody in place to take over? Do you want to announce anything about who's taking over for the drum corps?
We've been talking about it. I think we've got
also Fusco. They tore up your resume. They're not.
It's not me. I promise you.
Yeah. I mean, we can't say anything now, but I think there will be a time where that will be announced in the near future. So yeah.
So tune in next week, folks.
Tune in next week when Trevor announces the.
Tune in next week. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be that soon. But.
Well, I gotta say, guys, this has been a phenomenal Saturday afternoon for me personally. I hope you all have had a good time. I hope everyone that's watching along. But it is that time in the show where we're going to get into some final thoughts, probably stop the audio, and then, we may still chat a bit, but we'll probably kick everyone else out. So before we do that, Fusco.
Oh, I got to go first?
Well, so you're going to go first, I'm going to go second, and Trevor gets final word because we're going to talk about the final thoughts on the topic of our pipe band's Tolerant. So he has to get final word here because we wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
My final word is this. I have no fucking idea what it's like to be gay, black, Asian, anything other than a white male in a very white male fucking culture. You know what I mean? Like, the bagpipe culture is very white male, whatever. And so I really have no idea, but I'm curious. Like, I've heard Angel talk about it. It's interesting. I think it's important to be open to lots of different cultures because I'm not Scottish myself, so it annoys me when people ask me, like, why do you play bagpipes? Because I fucking like it. And so I get the same concept that Angel deals with, or Trevor potentially, like, I just like bagpipes and it sounds cool, so I want to play it. Like, who gives a shit?
Rock.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So anyway, but that's other than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, for me, it comes down to like, knowing that I will never have the experience of someone who is, like, in the LGBTQIA plus
dude, that was amazing
community.
I would not be able to say that.
I'll never have that experience. I'll never have the experience of someone who is playing bagpipes out of a genuine love for the music and the instrument, and then gets beset on all sides by assholes because they're not white.
Because they're not the Scottish, typical, prototypical Scottish
which is just
guy.
insane to me. It's like, you're not fucking Scottish either, random person telling my
Like, we're all
friends
Americans.
telling my friends that they're fucking
Listen,
shouldn't be the piper.
You're at any games and you get that question and you're like, you're not Scottish either, dude. You're just a fucking guy. You're just some fucking cunt.
Yeah, you're just some
like the
fucking
rest of
asshole
us.
that thinks that their great aunt was married to the Duke of who gives a fuck in the glens of nowhere.
Exactly, right?
Like, at the end of the day, I think that the only... And I hope that we can always put forward the idea that the pipe band, whether it is or whether it isn't, I think that it can strive to be super inclusive. The only good reason, in my opinion, to discriminate against a bagpiper is if they sound like shit.
Yeah, if there's fucking shit.
I don't
Fuck 'em.
care. I don't care what you look like. I don't care who you fuck.
I don't care who you are.
Like, I don't care who you have sex with. I don't care what your religious beliefs are.
If you suck, you suck.
Yeah, just, don't diddle kids, wash your hands, and for fuck's sake, play some good music.
Learn to play the instrument.
And
go to dojo.com/something. What is
Suckless.
Suckless,
No, it's
whatever.
chanarant.com. Stop using the wrong link. Chanarant.com.
God damn it. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm barely here. You're lucky I'm here.
That's kind of my 2 cents. And on the only other thing I will say is, like, I try to use I like the position I'm in because, one, I don't have to worry about this kind of stuff, which makes my life a hell of a lot easier than other people's lives. And I just try to use that privilege to,
Could you imagine how annoying it is to be Angel or like
it's gotta be fucking insane.
or fucking what was the kid's name? We had a black
So
kid
if
that played
you're
drums.
in the same position as me, and you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff because people don't give you this kind of shit, use your privilege, use the things that have been allotted to you by birth conditions you had no control over. You had no control over who your parents fucked.
Well, none of us had any control over where we come from.
Use that little bit of power to make sure that if anyone gives your bandmate shit for looking different or being different, kick their fucking teeth in. Like, that's the great part about being in a pipe band is part of the ship, part of the crew, baby. Like,
yeah,
once
you're in, man.
Hey, even my least favorite person in my band, if someone gives them shit in an event,
oh, we're fighting.
They're gonna be shitting teeth for a week. Like, that's just it.
Trevor, thoughts? Last thoughts on
Trevor
this
gets
whole...
final thoughts because he's the only one who actually knows what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Josh, I really love I was actually gonna kind of say the same kind of thing, and I mean, I'll go back to that, but I think it's an interesting time, like, in our history of the world right now, like with the Black Lives Matter movement happening, it's like Pride was basically the same thing. Like 51 years ago, a bunch of people got basically their asses kicked by the NYPD because they were gay and they were assembling, which was against the law to assemble in a public space, like, and have a good time at a bar with, other people who were LGBT. So the people who threw the first punch and threw the first brick were like, they were trans women of color, like, that were in New York City, and there were riots for days that started this. And now 51 years later, we look back and everything has a rainbow on it and it's pretty. And like, they're muscular go-go boys who dance on a float and, drinks being poured all day and everyone has a good time. But, I think it's a good reminder of like, this is kind of echoing the past of, people standing up for their rights. And I think Pride Month it's kind of weird that it kind of lined up right on Pride Month. With the pipe band community, I think, there's always room to grow, but it has definitely grown to be more inclusive and diverse. I mean, I've talked to people, like Martha Hall and from Blandford and Tony Sewell, who's listening. Hi, Tony. Yeah. It's like, it wasn't always as easy. They were the ones who kind of paved the way for people that weren't white and weren't men to kind of be in this space. And there was a time at Queen Mary a couple of years ago where there was the band from Texas, the St. Thomas band, not the alumni band, but the kids band. Their pipe major is an Asian kid. It was me up there as well, and then Martha, who's multi-ethnic as well. Yeah, and we looked at each other and we're like, it's crazy that the 3 people that are on the prize list are all like pipe majors that aren't white, and one of them is a woman, and it was a woman. So I think that it's come a long way, and there's only more work to do. And I think, Josh, like people like you and people like Andy, it's like you guys are the people who really help create that environment. And like, we want to create a place that's like safe and diverse and respectful for everybody. And so I think part of it is allowing room for people that are diverse to be there, but also having the people who, you know, have some privilege and who have, because the pipe band community is like, you know, for all intents and purposes created by white people, like it is a white culture, to kind of be there for them and to serve as advocates and allies and to use their privilege to make sure that the people that come in that are diverse and not white and not cisgender have that kind of support. So that's my end of my soapbox rant. But I think
that was amazing.
Also,
yeah.
I mean, I really sincerely mean it, and I'm really grateful for the place that it is in right now. Like, I know it can get better, but you know, it's like my band is like my family, and the band community is like my extended family. So it's like and the only reason for that is because I do, you know, I'm respected and I'm allowed to be my authentic self, and I just hope that for everybody.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So I want to end on that, and then hopefully Trevor can stick around a bit and we'll chat after the show. But I just want to say thank you very much for being on the episode. Thank you for everyone who tuned in, and we'll see you next week.
And
right?
like next week is America Fuck Yeah, because Trevor's
coming back.
Come back because he's the last pipe major to win the world.
Well, and we can tease him harder. We can tease him harder next week. Because we'll be talking
please think
about,
of harder questions to ask me for next week.
We'll be talking about the world.
We're gonna get into the whole pipe major nonsense. Yeah.
So thank you for everyone who tuned in. And Trev, if you're down to stick around for like 3 minutes, we're gonna play the outro and catch you then. All right, adios.